So, our router is rebooted. Let's put in our password. Please don't use something stupid like I do, password. That's not a very strong password. One that you will remember for yourself. Okay, so our next step is to check our wireless settings. Now, on our status page, if we scroll down here, we will see that the wireless, just like the rest of the router, is enabled by default with no security. Bad. So, we're going to scroll back up here and configure our wireless security. Go to Setup, Wireless Settings. Stay away from that wizard. Don't go there. We're going to do it like the big boys. Manual connection. Okay. First of all, if you don't want to use wireless at all, if you just want to use the D-Link as a wired-only solution, just untick the enabled wireless box. Second thing you're going to want to do is change the name of your wireless network. This is also called the SSID, Secure Station Identifier. This is the name of your network that gets broadcast out so that when you open your laptop and start looking for available Wi-Fi networks, that's the name that's going to show up in that list. Now, if you're thinking, and you've put two and two together so far, you're going to understand why, if you live in a pretty crowded area and you open up your laptop and you do occasionally see things like wireless networks called D-Link, or Linksys, or Netgear, or Default, you will realize now that these router networks were set up by people not unlike yourself, who took the router out of the box, followed the little directions on the folded up piece of paper to plug it all in, and found out that everything worked just as soon as they set it up. And they stopped there and didn't do anything else. And so their networks are now your network. Well, we don't want that to happen to you. So we're going to call this one, okay, that's our broadcasted ID. Now, if you want good security on your network and you hardly ever want anybody to be able to use it, or you want to be in very close control over who uses it, you can turn the visibility off to invisible. This will stop the router from broadcasting out that SSID. So not only will people have to know a security cipher to join your network, they will also have to know the name of the network. It won't even be broadcast out. They'll have to manually set that up. But that's pretty tough going for a lot of people. And we're going to set up good security, so we're going to leave it on. The next thing is to choose a security mode. And there are three available with this D-Link. The first is the Wireless Encryption Protocol, WEP, and then there are WPA Personal and WPA Enterprise. Now, WPA Enterprise, while being more robust, requires some authentication things to go on in addition to the router. So we're not going to use that. WPA Personal is a good encryption scheme that is pretty well balanced. WEP has been compromised in the past, and WPA, in addition to being a little bit stronger encryption, has the added benefit of allowing you to choose plain text keys or passwords for your users to remember, whereas WEP requires you to give them a 26-character hexadecimal code, which nobody ever remembers, so they often write down on little pieces of paper, which end up floating around. So we're going to set up our plain text shared key, a rather long, normal phrase like my password is bad. Nice and long, but something that people can remember. Now, a couple things on the D-Link. The D-Link, as we said, has a very robust feature set and allows you to tweak almost everything. And you can actually, if you're not getting good functionality and it's not working right away, you can tweak yourself into breaking it. However, which is why we leave most of the things alone, because most of them work pretty much the way they're supposed to out of the box. However, I have found through experience that the most compatible settings on these D-Links for this mode setting is going to be WPA2 and AES cipher. Cipher type is the type of encryption that is used to hash up the traffic over the wireless network. I bet you didn't know that without any encryption at all, any traffic that goes over a wireless network is broadcast in the clear. And it is rudimentary for somebody to download tools that can literally sniff those signals as they go by and pick out passwords. So unsecured routers, while they might be fun to jump onto and surf the internet, are not safe for you or for the person running them. WPA2 and AES encryption is going to give you the best compromise compatibility for the widest range of laptop wireless cards. Not all the wireless cards can talk to the D-Link and auto-negotiate what mode and what cipher type to use. WPA2 with AES encryption is a good default. So there, we've set up a nice, easy to remember pre-shared key. We've set up our wireless security encryption type, and we've chosen a unique broadcast name, and we're going to save those settings. So let's see if this works. I'm going to open up my network preferences. Okay. I'm going to turn my airport wireless on. Okay, and while that scans the local network, I'm going to unplug the cable that plugs me into the router, and you'll see that that is going to turn to disconnected here momentarily. The airport is on. Now it's scanning the networks, and it's going to look for the new network that's come up, which we call Don't Fear. Now I have networks in my office that I connect to routinely, so it's automatically connected to that. But if we go over here, we see Don't Fear with the little padlock, which means it is an encrypted network. So I've got to put in a password, and I'm going to put in my password is bad, and we're connected. Now, how do we know that we're connected? Well, let's surf the internet. Ta-da! And as you can see, we are working. So, now we've gone through step 3, configure and secure our wireless network. Now, let's just go through the basic wireless settings or the security settings of the firewall on the D-Link router. Now, you notice that we've used the words firewall and router interchangeably here. A router is simply a device that takes traffic from one or more computers on the inside of your network and translates and manages the traffic between the inside of the network and the internet. A firewall is a security feature that is usually in a router that keeps traffic that we don't want coming into the network out. Uh-oh. Okay, we can't connect. Well, we just changed networks. So, hey, don't panic. Calm down. Let's just quit our browser, Firefox, and we'll start it back up again. Sometimes it just needs a little quick kick in the butt. There's our internet connection back again. There we go. And there's our password. There we go. And we're back in. Okay, so the firewall keeps unwanted traffic out. So on the D-Link, we go to Advanced. And you can see that there are a lot of settings. As I said, you can get yourself into all kinds of trouble tweaking stuff here. The main thing that we're interested in here is firewall settings. And you just want to make sure that the firewall stuff is on. The defaults are fine. One thing that the DLink DIR-655 has that a lot of its competitors in the market don't have is what they call SPI. SPI stands for Stateful Packet Inspection. And what that means is that this router comes from the factory with a whole lot of the profiles of hacks and intrusion software types. Okay, and the router literally, as traffic comes into your network, looks inside every single one of those packets and scans them. If it sees the contents of any of that information that matches what it has in its database of intrusion attempts, hacks, or malware, it's going to drop that packet before delivering it into your network. That's what stateful packet inspection means. It actually looks at all the traffic coming in before it delivers it and drops unhelpful ones. So that's a really cool feature that you don't get with a lot of moderately priced routers. Everything else on here is pretty much as we want it to be. So your firewall is on. Now we will in future episodes get into some of the advanced features of setting up a firewall and a router to allow you to do such things as run a mail server or a web server behind your firewall, or if you're a home user, to open up ports to allow for gaming applications to come in and out. But for right now, you're pretty well locked down, and we're good to go. So that's all for today's Don't Fear the Router. We hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll hope you'll come back real soon. On behalf of CDW Direct and CDW BizTech Magazine, I'm Connor Anderson. See you soon.